Hello, hi, this is Greg. I have us right at the top of the hour, so I think we'll just get started. I know it's late for some folks who are in Europe, and this is going to be a small group, I suspect, so we can be super informal about it. The goal of this session is really just to give a chance to get reacquainted with Metico if you haven't used it for a while. And to just run through a few of the features and maybe especially the new features, which there are only a few this time. I see the date on my slide is actually wrong. It's the 14th of July. Happy Bastille Day to people who celebrate that. And I'll run through the slides there are only a few, but feel free to interrupt at any time. And thanks for coming. So this deck that you see is I created using the template that's available through the IETF 114 preparation webpage under the chairs on the chairs page. So if you want a quick starting point for slides for your session, that you're moderating or that you're chairing, feel free to grab those. It includes the note wheel, and the note wheel applies to this session as it does to all IETF sessions. If you're a chair, you're familiar with this, I'm sure, but it's always a good reminder. I take a look at it at least 3 times a year just to remind myself of it and what's included in it. It hasn't changed lately, but it does change from time to time, so it's always good to take a look and to remind folks who are in sessions that it does apply. There are some tips here. They're pretty much the same as the last 113 for both in-person and remote participants. There are 2 things that are not on this slide that I want to highlight, and they will be included in the standard template that is available to use. First one is that in each of the meeting session rooms, there'll be QR codes that you can use from phones to log in to the Metico Lite client for that session. So that's super handy. You can just walk into the room, scan the QR code, and fire up right away the Metico Lite client for the session that you're in. And all participants in sessions will need to use Metico. Obviously, remote participants will need to use it because that's how they'll get the audio and the video and see the slides as we're doing now. But in-person participants need to do it as well for at least 2 reasons. The first one is that it will actually automatically generate the blue sheet for the session. So by logging into the Metico Lite client, you are automatically signing the blue sheet, which means you don't have to pass pens and clipboards around anymore. And the other reason is because in the sessions, Metico will be used by both in-person and remote participants to manage a consolidated queue. And we can test that out here. But it worked really well at IETF 113 because that way chairs, for example, didn't have to try and keep track of a Jabber queue versus a in-person queue, and everybody who was joining Metico, who was in the session, whether they're remote or in person, could see the Metico queue on the screen at the front of the in-person room, and obviously if you're remote, you see it in your Metico window. So you'll see there's a little screenshot there of what the icons look like in the new improved data tracker agenda page. The little phone is for the Metico Lite, which is what people on site can use, and the camera is for the full Metico session, which is what remote participants must use. If you're in person, you can use the full version of Metico, but you just for sure should not send audio or video at all because those will be provided by the in-room AV setup. So one of the changes relates to Metico for this time around relates to, actually both of the changes relate to chat, but one is that Metico now connects to the Zulip group chat service that the IETF is using, as the follow-on to Jabber or XMPP. So it's now Zulip, and it's seamless if you're using it through the Meetico, and it works just like Jabber does. And the other chat related change is that in the Meetico Lite client, there's a link to the Zulip chat room. That was a feature request that we heard quite a bit from 1.13, and now you can get to the Zulip chat room via the Lite session. And yeah, and so there you go. Joe is using the chat feature there to say hi, which is great. Hi right back at you, Joe. And if I do my chat, I'm using Meetico to do this. You see my response, and yeah, fantastic. It is possible to use the standalone client or web interface to join the Meetico. To join the Zulip session for the Zulip stream, I guess is the word for a particular Meetico session, or for the group that a Meetico session is related to. But this is, I think, pretty straightforward. So, and I see Andy has joined actually as a Zulip user. So I don't know if Andy, that also means Andy is in the room. I think it doesn't mean he's on the Meetico bridge yet, but he's in the Zulip room for this session, in the testing session. I've got that right. Great. Yeah, since we're small, I'll just stop here. Are there any questions about the tips? There were two things that weren't on there that I will mention, but I want to just pause here. And if you want to send audio or video, which you could, first of all, for sure encourage you to try out and test your setup before 1.14 if you're planning to join remotely. You can do that by clicking the little camera icon just under your name for video, which you're free to leave on, or the little microphone icon under your name for audio if you want to send either of those. And I see Joe sending audio. What's up, Joe?
Not much, just saying hi. So can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
All right.
Fantastic. Thanks for testing out. So, so the thing I wanted to, the other tip that will be on this slide, and that you as chairs know, is that the COVID-related protocols for 1.14 mean that if you're not an active speaker at a microphone in a session in person, you are asked to wear an FFP2 or K91 or R91, anyway, a mask, and that will be on the slide in the template. So if you're just sitting in the audience, or you're you're not actively speaking, the idea is that you'll be wearing a mask. So that'll be on the slide, and there'll be other reminders about that, I'm sure, as people walk into rooms. Fantastic. The next slide here. Well, you're here, so you've made one of the moderated test sessions, which is great. Just a reminder that that web page is up off the 1.14 page, and it has links to other more specific guides for either participants or chairs, and each of those guides have a lot of detail about things to consider before you get to the meeting and while you're at the meeting. The two of those things are that in addition to these moderated test sessions, which is, again, moderated is the wrong word, it's mainly facilitated, because there's no moderation going on. But in addition to this test session and the one that we have yesterday, there will be on-demand testing beginning on 15th of July. So this is a great way where you and there's a link from that chair guide on the website to this tool where you can set up a test session for your group, the group that you chair, directly via directly via the scheduler. This doesn't create an interim meeting or anything like that. It just schedules the Meetico session. And then you can use that session at whatever time works for you to test out Meetico with, for example, presenters or your co-chair or both, so that you can make sure that all the AV setups that people might be using, especially if they're remote, work as expected. Yeah, so that's a really, really great feature, and highly recommend it. And it'll be available, I think, at the end of the day tomorrow. There's one more session that needs to happen, and then the new version of Meetic will be deployed, and the scheduler will be available to that. So you have a week plus to try that out. And then in addition to that, we will have on-site testing available at the hotel venue, the venue hotel, and there'll be a room set up just as it will be set up for the sessions during the week, that you can go in and test out and get comfortable with that as well if you'd like. And there's a link to sign up for a particular slot on the chair's preparation page. So if you want to pick a slot to meet your presenters or your co-chair on site, or if one of you is on site and the other person is remote, you can agree to join the test session. So it's a nice way to get refamiliarized with the Meetic setup on site. Yeah, so those are the testing opportunities for Meetico between now and 114. And I'm going to pause here again in case folks have any questions. Okay, I don't hear any questions. There are a few tips that I wanted to offer based on the experience from last time. The first one is really the best way to get to share slides is to upload them to Data Tracker in advance, which I think most people do, so that they're available both in Data Tracker for participants, but also here. And what I can do is I'll stop sharing the slides here, and then I can show you, I think, if I share my screen, what that feature looks like. And I will share this tab. So screen sharing, and apologies, this is just an artifact of the recursive nature of sharing my screen. But if I share preloaded slides, oh, I can't do that. That's right, sorry. Anyway, if you look at this icon here, you'll see that you'll have options to share slides that are preloaded. And you can, in addition to drawing all the list of slides that are available from Data Tracker, I don't think this modal will show on my screen share though. You can manage share slides through the settings as well. There's a manage share slides here.
Yeah, that modal was showing up on the.
Oh, fantastic. So let me go back to that. So you can see all the Data Tracker materials. These are loaded in Data Tracker, and all these texts that are ready to be shared. And then in addition, you can see that this test slide session down here at the bottom, that's something that I uploaded directly to Meetico. So it's not, I didn't upload it via the Data Tracker in advance. So that's a great feature, which you can do through that, again, through that modal, is upload a new deck if you have to on the fly. But if, again, by uploading to Meetico the slides, it makes it much easier, especially for remote participants, if they're sharing slides. And you can pass slide control by using this feature as a chair in a session. So I, as chair, will have this option. You, as a participant in the session, won't. but you can pass slide control to other participants in the session. So that's a handy way to manage slides. And then you can similarly take slide control back if a participant has it. Yeah, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen because that's annoying, and I'll go back to sharing the test slides. The only other thing, because this just came up, somebody asked me about this. If for some reason you have video within a presentation, that's best coordinated with Meeteco in advance. So that's something where you want to let, you can just send a note to support@ietf.org and say, hey, we're going to have a video during this session that we want to make sure to share. And Meeteco will help work that out. Because video doesn't do great through screen sharing. Again, it's just not as nice and tidy as if it's managed centrally. There's one more thing I want to share for sure, but again, I'll pause there and see if there are any questions about that, any of that, or anything else that I haven't mentioned. Okay, great. The last thing I wanted to make sure to cover was how to get help if you need help. So if you know you have a question before 114 starts, the best thing to do is just to send an email to support@ietf.org, and it'll get routed to the right folks. Yeah, so if something you have a question about something at the meeting, including your particular session at the meeting, you can just send an email to support@ietf.org. If something comes up during the session that you're chairing, the thing to do is to type into the chat, into the Meeteco chat, a comment or a question that starts with Meeteco, because Meeteco monitors all the sessions that are going on, but they're taking care of a lot of things all at once. But they do have a way where if Meeteco appears in the chat, I don't know, sirens or something go off, something magic happens, and they will take a look and see what they can do to work it out. So either support@ietf.org before your session. If something comes up during the session, just type in Meeteco and then whatever you need help with or the question you have into the chat, and someone will get back right away. If they, a lot of times what happens is the issue comes up and Meeteco is monitoring the session and they proactively take care of it, which is amazing. But if that doesn't happen, or if there's a general question, you can just type Meeteco in the chat. Wow. Oh, hey, go ahead, Joe.
Is it just Meeteco or an @Meeteco or just the word Meeteco?
I think just the word Meeteco, but maybe if Alessandro, if I can test it, see if Meeteco is listening now.
Yeah, it's anything that contains the word Meeteco, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Sure.
Oh, and you can't typo it, so I typoed it, so it has to be actually Meeteco. There you go. Cool. Wow. Well, I'm happy to hang out. If there are more questions or test anything out on Meeteco or related to 114, do we want to talk about cheesesteaks? Whatever you want to cover, I'm happy to talk about. Yeah, Joe, go ahead.
Looking forward to some cheesesteaks. See how that goes.
that actually might be a good April 1st RFC. Local cuisine via avian carrier or something like that. So, well, listen, I have to say, you guys who have joined are ahead of the game. So you can relax. You can be more relaxed going into the meeting, which starts in, I think someone like, what is it, 9 days, right? Because it's the 14th. It starts on the 23rd. So yeah, kudos to you for showing up and making this happen. And if anything comes up, let us know. Happy to help. And I'm going to hang out just for a few more minutes here if something comes up. But yeah, don't hesitate to ask. Thanks again for joining.
All right. I'm going to drop off, but hopefully, are you going to be in Philly?
I will be in Philly. I think Alessandro also will be in Philly.
All right. Well, I'll look forward to seeing you folks there.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining, Joe. See you in 9 days.
Yep. Bye-bye.
See ya. And Alessandro, if you want to drop off, and I'm planning to just hang on for 10 more minutes, but it's late for you, so you should.
Yeah, it is indeed. So I'm gonna drop off, and if you need anything from me, just send me a message on Slack, and I'll reply.
Okay, I for sure will not do that. So you should go to sleep, and maybe we just do one of these next time.
Or you can just type Mireko on the Zulip chat, and I'll be notified.
Even better. Perfect. Good night.
Thank you.
Yep. See you
Bye
soon.
bye.